Hey there and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my channel and thank you so much for being here. So it is my goal right now to get this video recorded, and I actually just got off the phone with my dear friend Brittany, who kind of like pepped me up for this video and told me that I couldn't under any circumstances give up. I wanted to talk about being publicly fat. Although I'm not having these symptoms of like hypervisible because I'm fat, I'm having symptoms of feeling hypervisible because I'm trying to record in public, and this is something I've wanted to do. I have this great park in my neighborhood and it's gorgeous and the lighting's great, and I just don't want to allow what I'm feeling right now to stop me from doing this. And there's so many sounds, I'm sorry. But I wanted to talk about that and maybe talk through what I'm going through and how I'm able to kind of come down from this. These symptoms feel a lot like what it feels like to be in public and, you know, be eating in a restaurant or wearing a really like revealing outfit or wearing something that's, you know, tight. It's all sort of the same thing. It feels, you know, like everyone's staring at you. It feels like everyone's giving you funny looks. Currently what I'm feeling is that everyone's like looking at me from their houses and wondering like, what the heck is she doing? And, you know, she's got a tripod on her, and, you know, there are people coming right now. And even though I'm sitting here feeling all those things and there are people like maybe less than a minute away from me, I am determined to get this done. I'm determined to get through this moment because I know ultimately at the end of the day, I'm going to be the one who suffers more if I'm not pushing past it, if I'm not addressing it. I by no means want to allow this moment to defeat me. It's really, really important that if I'm having a moment like that, that I am utilizing my resources and getting through it. So one of the first things that I did, when I couldn't really talk logically to myself, I reached out to someone that I trusted, someone that I knew would understand. And that's why reaching out to Brittany was so important, because I knew that I was going to, in a second, walk away and admit defeat when I knew deep down that's not what I wanted. I knew like tomorrow I would really, really regret that, because I wanted to make sure that, I mean, this was a goal today. This is something I wanted to do today. So in a situation before where maybe I've been out in public and I'm really hungry and I decide, okay, well, I'm just gonna eat something. I'm sitting down and all of a sudden I notice people are staring at me and I'm feeling really, really hypervisible. And, you know, some days it bothers me and some days it doesn't. But in that moment, if that's what you're feeling, text a friend, call a friend, whatever way you feel comfortable in that moment. But talk to someone who understands you and that can be there for you as a support, because in that moment maybe you can't be for yourself, and that person's just going to remind you that you're allowed to take up the space, you're allowed to eat, you're allowed to, you know, exist there with everyone else, and that there's nothing wrong. And if anyone's going to look at you that way, if anyone's going to judge you that way, then there's a very, very good chance that you will never run into them again. And even if you did, every single person on this planet is allowed to use up the space that we have. As long as you're not harming anyone, as long as you're not doing anything to hurt yourself, you're allowed to be there and you're allowed to exist the same way everyone else does. So right now, in this moment, as I said that, I realized, hey, I'm allowed to be in this park just like everyone else. I'm very quietly doing my thing. You know, if anyone's gonna judge me or say anything, that's on them. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna have something that I'm proud of and that I can show to you guys, and that might help you, and that's important to me. And I'm gonna talk about another experience, you know, being in super tight skirts. I love the look of it. I feel sexy as hell, but there's certainly people in this world who don't find that very attractive. I can feel super sexy, I can feel like on point when I leave the house, but then eventually you start noticing people noticing you. As much confidence as I might have, or you might have, or anyone might have, there's always going to be a part of you that feels a little weird about that. I've had experiences with assholes. They just decide that, you know, for some reason you want to hear their opinion, or that being an asshole is like the thing they want to do that day. What's helped me in that moment is to feel like prepared in a way. If I can see someone looking at me, I've actually kind of mentally prepared myself and been like, okay, well, how am I going to respond to them? Having already kind of that scary moment conversation in my head, like, you know, if this happens right now, if they say anything to me right now, how am I going to deal with that? What is going to be my course of action? In some ways, kind of already having that conversation in my head helps me prepare for it if it does come. In a way, it's like if somebody were to kind of just say that to me, and I was taken off guard. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm fat, I don't really care, and you're pointing out something that's like pretty obvious to everyone and myself, but it's the act of someone kind of like doing that out of nowhere and not really having a moment to be like, oh shit, okay, someone's trying to call me out for something, someone's trying to make me feel shit about myself. Another really, really super helpful thing is having, you know, reassuring phrases. And one thing I love saying to myself is, I'm allowed to be here. I'm allowed to exist here the same way everyone else is. If anyone judges me, that says more about them than it does about me. I'm just doing my thing. I'm just existing in this world like they are. In a way, by telling yourself that, by reciting that in your head, it really reminds you and really emphasizes the fact that you have every single right to be in this world and take up the space that you do and exist the way that you want to. Having, I guess, reassuring phrases to fall back on, it's really helpful. It's, you know, a tool that you can use in a moment when you feel like maybe no one is picking up your call or returning your text, and, you know, maybe you're just overwhelmed in a moment and you have no other way. And if you need to write it down, or if you need to, like, you know, remember it, do whatever you need to do. But having those to fall back on, having those to kind of pull out when you feel that way is really, really helpful and has helped me in so many moments. With all that being said, being publicly fat is really scary, and I understand wholeheartedly if it is easier just to kind of hide. If you're thinking about challenging yourself to be more visible in any way, or even if you feel visible currently as you are, I just really want to state again, as I stated many, many times, you have every single right to exist in this world just as everyone else does. If you're not harming yourself, if you're not harming anyone else, and if you're not being a general asshole, you are allowed to be in that space. And honestly, more times than not, and I know I said all those things about you can notice someone looking at you and it always makes you feel very strange. Maybe not everyone is looking at you in a negative way. Maybe people are looking because they're admiring the way that you look, or it's just a quick glance in your direction. And reminding yourself that not every look is a bad look can be really helpful too. I know it's so easy to assume, I mean, for me especially, based off of the experiences that I've had, that people are looking with the worst of intentions. But I've had moments where I've noticed people staring at me and I'm like, what the hell are they? Why are they looking? Then they come up to me and they say something so kind that I'm just like, wow, okay, well maybe I was freaking out over nothing, and maybe I shouldn't instinctively feel like everyone's staring at me for a really awful reason. In the case that they are, in the case that maybe they are staring at you and judging you, I wholeheartedly believe that that says more about them than it has anything to do with you. Honestly, misery loves company. People who hate themselves will try to do everything in their power to hate on you too. And I know that's little comfort in a moment where maybe someone's embarrassed you or brought attention to something that you yourself don't even want attention on. It's helped me so much in moments when I realize that the whole reason someone is saying something to me is because for some reason they're threatened by me and threatened by the way that I'm trying to exist in this world. Anyways, I think I'm starting to lose sunlight, unfortunately, and so I'm going to wrap up this video. I really, really hope this has been helpful. I'm feeling a lot more relaxed now, which is awesome. Remember that you can find new videos from me every Wednesday and every Sunday, and I will see you next time. Bye!
It's back, and the sun's so real. When I see you smile, I remember